Sunrise washes over a silent Maiduguri street. Burnt walls and abandoned vehicles bear the scars of recent violence.
Muhammad Yusuf was dead. The preacher-turned-leader had been killed in custody, extrajudicially executed by Nigerian police after the uprising reached Maiduguri. What many hoped would be an end was merely a prelude. The streets were quiet, but only because fear hung heavy in the air. To the government, the death of Yusuf was a victory. To many followers, it was a betrayal, fuel for a fire that would soon rage uncontrollably. Yusuf had originally preached opposition to corruption and Western influence in the North, a message that resonated with the poor and disenfranchised. But when violence broke out and he was killed without trial, grief turned into ideological wrath. No longer merely a social movement, his followers began seeing themselves as soldiers in a war he believed justified. The death of their leader became a rallying cry. Into the vacuum stepped Abubakar Shekau, Yusuf's deputy. Unlike Yusuf, whose rhetoric had roots in religious revivalism, Shekau embraced violence without restraint. Under his leadership, the group abandoned restraint. Civilian targets were no longer off-limits. Schools, markets, places of worship became battlegrounds. The ideology hardened into insurgency. What began as an uprising in 2009, sparked by clashes, anger, and misunderstanding, now became a campaign of terror. Through the early 2010s, Boko Haram unleashed a wave of attacks across northern Nigeria, killing thousands and displacing millions. This was no longer sporadic conflict. It was a bloody insurgency. Families were uprooted, villages emptied, communities shattered. By many estimates, tens of thousands of civilians died, and over 2 million people were forced from their homes. The war's scars stretched far beyond Maiduguri, beyond Nigeria's borders, into Chad, Cameroon, and Niger. International attention grew as Boko Haram's violent tactics, including suicide bombings and kidnappings, made headlines worldwide. The insurgency was not just a Nigerian problem, it was a regional crisis. A confrontation that began with tension between young riders and police grew into a conflict that would define an era. The death of one man did not end Boko Haram, it transformed it into something far deadlier. Episode 4: The Death That Started a War. Where hope was lost, fear took root, and a movement birthed a long, brutal chapter in Nigeria's history. What did Abubakar Shekau do? Let's find out more in the next episode.